Hey guys, I'm Tom the Problem Solver. I do ultra detailed videos on how to do stuff. In today's video, we're gonna be removing an automatic transmission out of a BMW, just like this one here, E36. This is a 6-cylinder. It's gonna be the same on the M3, on the 4 cylinders, and the 6 cylinders. The only difference on the 4 cylinders is the starter is easier to take out. Okay, let's get started right away, guys. So this car here is a 1997 328i, guys. This is the same for the IS, the convertible. It's got the 2.8 liter engine. If you got an older model with the 2.5, it's all very, very similar. Or if you got the M3, it's all very, very similar, guys. So let's get started right away. The first thing we got to do is we need to jack the car up. It's got to be off the ground enough where you can go underneath it, no problem, because the tranny's going out underneath. Let me show you my setup, guys. Safety first. You're going to do this part at your own risk, obviously. Jack stands on hot asphalt aren't good enough. They can sink in and tip over if your car's rusted. You got to have more than that. Make it safe. Let me show you what I did. See, guys, I got this thing up on some deep dish rims so it doesn't roll off. I got the whole car up like that. Let me show you the back. See what I mean? I got a couple boards. Everything's looking good there. I got tons and tons and tons of room to get really, really good access, guys. Okay, so the absolute first thing you got to do is you got to go in the trunk here, and we need to disconnect this battery. That is step number 1, guys. Okay, step number 2, guys. If you have a 4-cylinder, it's your lucky day because it's easy to get to and you can just remove it right there. Is the starter needs to come out, guys. On the 6-cylinder, guys, you basically have to take the intake manifold off. You have to take this off, disconnect hoses, all this comes off. And that's how you get to the starter to pull it off, guys. So that is what you have to do, guys. So I hate to do this right now, but what I'm actually doing is I'm doing a transmission swap on this. I'm going from an automatic to a manual, and I already pulled the manual transmission out of this car here, and the process with the starter is the exact same, guys. So, and I pulled the transmission out. So I got a video on how to pull a manual transmission out. I got a video on how to pull the starter out. So what you're gonna have to do, guys, is you're gonna have to click in the description, and there's a specific video that just focuses on how to remove the starter out of that black car there. It's the same process. So you can watch that video. I'm not gonna record it twice, obviously. So you can watch that video and then come back to this one. Or what I can do right now is I'm just gonna fast forward this whole situation with the starter here. So I'm gonna fast forward to a moment where this is all apart and basically the starter is out, guys, because I'm not gonna record that twice. So I'm gonna fast forward till the moment the starter is out.
Right now, everybody.
Okay, guys, and just like that, we are in the future, guys. So this took me about 3-4 hours to do. When you're doing this, guys, make sure you label every single vacuum hose you disconnect, every single hose you disconnect. Everything gets labeled on the hose and on the part that you're disconnecting it from, so you can put this back together. In the description of this video, there will be a link to a manifold installation video. I will show you where every plug goes, every vacuum goes. It will be very, very detailed, guys. Okay, let's move on. So we got to the starter, no problem. I mean, we could take the starter off. If you watch the starter removal video, you can take it off. In our case, we're gonna be lowering the motor later. So when we do that, we can get to the starter with long extensions when we're pulling the transmission off. Also, guys, all this stuff had to come out, like this, the heating, plastic cover, the wipers. You have to take all that off because when you're tilting your motor back, you're gonna need the room, guys. So the next thing you gotta do, guys, we need to get underneath the car, guys, and we need to take off the exhaust pipes. I'll show you how to do it so you don't break any bolts here. Okay, that's the front of the car. So the first thing you want to do is disconnect these 2 plugs here. These go to the oxygen sensors. So you just want to disconnect them there, disconnect all this. So we're going to do that. Also, what you want to do is we're going to be disconnecting these right here. They just slide out. You could put Vaseline on these, slide these out. And in the back of the car, see over here by the muffler, see there's a bolt there you gotta unscrew, and there's one on the other side right there. So that's all pretty straightforward, right? The best thing to do is to put like a jack and a board or something under it, so when you undo all these things, it's not just gonna fall on the ground, right? So that's what we'll do there. But before you disconnect any of this stuff, you're gonna go onto the motor, and by the motor, see right here by the motor, guys, see, you're gonna remove all those nuts. There's 3 on each exhaust pipe going to the motor. See what I mean? So the best way to take those off, guys, is obviously with an extension and a socket. But what you need is just like a $15 blowtorch like this. You're gonna turn it on, hold it on each bolt for a minute and a half, a minute. Get it hot, that will expand the bolt, and then you can unbolt it without the bolt breaking. That's the trick. Just a $15 blowtorch like this is all you really need. So we're gonna do that. I think I'm gonna pull this exhaust off camera. I showed it in the automatic transmission video, really detailed. It's pretty straightforward. So we're pulling off the exhaust next. There's one other thing that you gotta pull off that I'll show you right now. So right here, usually there's like a cross member that goes from that bolt to the other side, like a bar basically. It's missing on this car. We have one off our parts car, we're gonna put it on. And sometimes there's like a cross member where it hooks up to that frame as well. So that, all of that is missing here, but we do have it from the other car. So you would pull that off as well. You might even have to heat these bolts up so they don't break either, depending on how rusted your car is. Okay, so I'm gonna take off the exhaust right now off camera, guys, because it's pretty straightforward. Okay, guys, so there it is. That was not hard at all. Maybe took half an hour, 25 minutes. So now we're gonna go underneath, guys, and we need to remove the heat shield, which is all this metal stuff here, as you can see. So, yeah, it just unscrews. They're just random screws everywhere holding it. See what I mean, guys? Just like right there. They're all 10 mils, I believe. So anyways, so we're gonna unscrew all those, get this whole thing off. This one's a little bit beat up, but the one on our parts car was actually in really good shape. So we might use the other one. We put this all back together. Okay, so I'm pulling this off right now, guys, off camera, because it's pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna take that off right now. Okay, guys, the shield is out. That honestly took maybe 5 minutes. Okay, let me show you what we're doing next. Let's go underneath. Okay, that's the front, right? So next, guys, we need to remove the drive axle. So there it is. It's very easy to remove, actually. So basically, you got a couple bolts here. There's 4 of them, right? So you got to get in there with a wrench, unscrew those. Pretty straightforward. You got to take this hanger off. You got, you know, a couple bolts in here, couple bolts there. No big deal. So this needs to come off. You got to unscrew these so this can come off. Another thing you got to do, guys, is you got to grab a can of spray paint. You got to mark this, because this and this is balanced at the shop. There, now if it comes apart, you know how to put it back together. You should do the same thing here. But in our case, we're switching this to a manual transmission, and we're not going to reuse this drive axle because it's different. But this way I could try to sell it on, you know, sell it for 20 bucks or whatever. As long as it's marked, it's good, right? So anyways, so we're gonna remove that. And then over here, we're just gonna remove these 3 bolts. I mean, there really isn't anything to it. The only thing you're gonna have to do, guys, is you're gonna have to throw the car in neutral, and, you know, like, we're gonna get these 2 off, and then it's hard to reach the 3rd one. So what you're gonna have to do is we're gonna get a jack, and we're gonna lift the car up just high enough so the wheels can spin, right? Because we need to spin this axle around. You know, we can easily get these 2 bolts, but the other ones are hard to get to as well. So we'll have to spin the axle around. So that's the only advice I can give you there, guys. Obviously, be careful, because the second you go to spin this, you know, your car could roll off. In our case, we got deep dish rims, so it ain't going nowhere, but make sure the car doesn't fall on you, guys. So what I'm gonna do now, guys, is I'm gonna just unbolt all that, get it all ready. I'm gonna skip most of it just to speed this video up. So see you in a few minutes once I'm ready to pull this axle off. All right, so it's been a little bit, maybe 25 minutes or so. So everything is loose. This thing is ready to come out. These are loose. The back is loose. So what you want to do now, guys, is see this part here. You want to grab a screwdriver and let this come down. See? Just like that. So once you get the center down, see? Now you can get it out. It's gonna have to, there's like a pin inside of there. You're gonna have to kind of slide it out so this part doesn't go down. It slides out. And the back here, all you really gotta do is like put in a screwdriver here like this and kind of pry it, and this will pop out. See, there it goes. So that's how you do that. Okay, let's get her off. So try to get the back out first. There it goes. Okay, we got it out. Boom. All right, so here's the two drive axles side by side. So that's the automatic one that we just pulled out of here. And that is the manual one that's gonna be going in here because we are doing a swap, guys. So as you can see, they are different a little bit. Yeah, that one there is out of that parts car, guys. Anyways, okay, we're moving on, guys. All right, everybody. Next, we're gonna need an oil pan. You're gonna slide it under, and we're gonna drain the oil out of this transmission, guys. And also, while we're draining the transmission, some of these cars have a dipstick to check your oil level, and some of them don't. So if yours has a dipstick, you have to disconnect the dipstick from the transmission. Ours doesn't have one. It has like a hole on the side, like a manual transmission would. And you check that with the engine running and the car up in the air. I do have a video about that. You guys should check it out. Anyways, let's go underneath and drain the oil. Okay, so just on the back of the transmission here, honestly, no big deal. Just gonna open this up and drain it. And that's about it there. We're throwing this transmission out, so we're not doing anything else with it. We're not taking the pan off or anything. Okay, I'm gonna let that drain. And yeah, see what I mean? We don't have a dipstick on this one. There's like a fill. So you open that up and that's how you check it. Okay, so I'm gonna let that drain and then I'll tell you what's next. All right, so that's loose now. It's not like fully out, but it's loose. See, this moves. So now you move this thing up here like so. You're grabbing a 16 millimeter and you're basically gonna just kind of unscrew this. Like I already loosened it off camera. So you're gonna unscrew this part. So once you got this off, see? There you go. See, that all just came right off just like that. Nothing to it, so we got it off. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, so as you've seen, we got this thing off, right? But there's one thing I want to cover really quick. So when you're putting it all back together, like let's say you're watching this video just to remove your automatic transmission because you're putting in another automatic transmission, right? So let me show you, this is really, really important. So when you're putting all this back together later, right, you have to make sure that, you know, your knob up top, it's in park. And you also have to make sure this is in park. Like if this switches on you, right, and now you put all this together and your shifter is in park up top, you know, you're gonna turn your key and your car is gonna drive right off these ramps because it could be in like drive when you turn your key. So you have to be really, really careful, guys. You gotta make sure, you know, it is in park when you put all this back together. So be careful when taking it apart. In our case, we're not worried about that because we're putting in a different transmission. All this stuff's coming out, right? We're putting in a manual transmission. Okay, I just wanted to let you know to be safe. All right, everybody. So we got this thing disconnected, obviously. So now we're gonna move on. So there is like two different transmissions that come in these. See, you gotta disconnect all the wiring connectors. So this one, you just spin it. I already spun it. See, that comes out. And then there's one up there. See, just press that metal button or whatever and pull that off. So I'm gonna disconnect those right now. I'm gonna do it off camera because I need my hands to do this. So I'll do that right now. All right, guys, it's actually a few days later now. We're gonna keep going. So next we're gonna remove the transmission cooler lines. And since we're changing the tranny out to a manual, we're gonna remove the tranny cooler altogether. You don't need it with a manual. So let me just show you what we gotta do in order to do that. Okay, so up top here, we're gonna remove this cover, pretty straightforward. A couple little screws. So we're gonna remove that. And then underneath the car, see if we look underneath, see, there they go. They kind of travel. See, there's a couple spots where they're attached. So you got to disattach it there. You're going to have two little screws right there. See what I mean? There's your cooler right there. It's basically in between your radiator and your air conditioner. We'll see what it looks like up top. So you got to disconnect them all over the place. And then on the side of the tranny, let me go over there. Okay, guys, see, that's the front of the car. So as you can see, they kind of travel here. See, this is already disconnected, but there was a screw there holding it in place as well. And they kind of travel in here. See, this one, we can easily get and unscrew it. The other one, it's tight, guys. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically remove everything. And in our case, we can even cut these because they're gonna be garbage anyways. We're throwing all this out. But what you're gonna have to do here is, like, we're eventually gonna lower the transmission down, right, with a jack. We're close to that. So the one that's kind of tight right here, where is it here? This one. We're gonna get that one when we lower the tranny a little bit, then we'll have better access to it, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna go up top and pull off that plastic piece, guys. Okay, we got the cover off. It was super easy. See right here, you got two 10 mils. So we're gonna take those two 10 mils off. We'll do the two at the bottom as well. And I believe we can just slide this thing right out and we'll disconnect it, where it's connected to the motor as well. No big deal. Okay, guys, so it's been just a few minutes. So I unscrewed those two bolts. I unscrewed that bolt there. So now, see, this will just come right out. There's enough flex on these hoses. And there we go, guys. So we got that out. Okay, I guess for now, that's all we can really do. We're gonna have to disconnect it at the transmission. So next, guys, see, this is the front of the car, just so you get familiarized. See right here, guys, see, there's like a little rubber kind of thing that comes off. See right there? So we're gonna pull that out, and that's how we can access the torque converter to disconnect the transmission from the motor. So we're gonna open that. I'll do that right now. Okay, guys, just before we move on, I got a pan. See right here, if you unscrew this, which I almost got it, we can actually just completely disconnect this so it's out of our way. And then it'll be easier to pull these hoses out, obviously. And this way we're not destroying this. Like, maybe somebody will need this part and we can give it to somebody. See, these just pop right out. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna remove this off camera. I need my hand back here. And then we're gonna move on to that plug. Okay, guys, so this thing's disconnected. So right here, right, just like we talked about, we're gonna take this off. Just comes off like this. No big deal. So if you look in there, see? Well, you can't see nothing right now, but what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna spin the motor. See right here on the crankshaft. See, we put a ratchet on it, and we're gonna just spin the motor. See? And as we're spinning it, see right here, we are accessing bolts, guys, see? So there's one. So we're gonna put a wrench on that. There's 3 of those bolts, so we have to remove all 3. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that one first. Okay, guys, so I got it out. I got one of them out. So see, now I'm spinning the motor around, looking for the next one. And there it is. So that's just a 17 mil. So you just put a 17 mil on it, unbolt it, and then we move on to the next one. See, guys, just like that, no big deal. They break really, really easy, guys. Okay, we're gonna unscrew that one and then move on. And if they fall in, which one of mine did, we'll get it out later. It's not the end of the world. Okay, guys, so that is all the bolts now. So once you got all 3 unscrewed, see, look, this is detached now, see? So basically, we're ready to move on, guys. Next, we're gonna be lowering the transmission. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, guys, let me show you what I did now. So this is your next step here, guys. See, I got a jack and I faced it like so I can drive it backwards. See, that's the back of the car. And I put it like in the middle of the transmission. See, like not at the back of the oil pan here, but like in the front of the oil pan, see? Because that's about the middle of the transmission right there. So this way, when we lower it and we detach it later, we'll be able to drive this back kind of and lower it. That's the idea there. So that's what I did there. So our next move, guys, is we're gonna remove this cross member here, see? Where there's 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side. So we're gonna just basically disconnect this. And then once we do that, we can lower the jack just a little bit, enough to disconnect those coolant lines from the side. And then I'll show you what's in the back too. Let me go over there. So that's the front of the car over there. See, so once we lower this, we'll be able to get some extensions and unbolt the tranny from the transmission. Also this stuff, this is very common on these cars. See, it like sinks and then it rubs up against here. So we're gonna be getting rid of all this sound barrier stuff. You're basically gonna get in there with an X-Acto knife and cut it out best I can. I'm just completely gonna get rid of it. It makes things a lot easier. Plus, it, like I said, it hangs and it sits on the exhaust and stuff. Okay, so my next move now is I'm removing these 4 bolts. Once I got those off, I'm gonna lower it a little bit. Okay, I got the cross member loose. The only thing holding the tranny up now is the jack. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly lower the jack right now. And as we're lowering it, right over here, what we're gonna do is see, like the motor, basically you wanna get it. You want this back of the motor to be like just up against the firewall. Like that's as low as you can go. So obviously, you know, double, triple check everything. Make sure you're not squishing something. But you're slowly gonna lower it until that part of the motor basically leans up against the firewall, but you don't want it like sitting on the firewall. You want there to be a tiny little bit of a space like that. Like the jack is still gonna be the one supporting this. So, okay, we're gonna go underneath and do that right now. Okay guys, so I'm slowly gonna lower this right now. Okay, ready? Okay, let's go check up top. So I'm gonna close it. Okay, it's locked. Let's go check. Okay, so it definitely is closer now. Here, take a look in here. See how close it is? But it's not resting on it still, look, see? So we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, let's go see what we can do underneath, guys. Okay, guys, so now with that lowered a little bit, so we got way better access to these hoses. There's one of them. There's the other one, see? So you can access it now. The best tool for this is one of these style wrenches, see? So it's a 19 millimeter. See, and what you do is you put, see this on a ratchet, and then you can really get in there easy. And so, I mean, that's choice number 1 or 2. You can just cut those, right? Because it's all getting chucked anyways. But if you're watching this video to take your automatic transmission out and put in another automatic transmission, you got to save all this stuff. So let me just quickly put this on and show you how this works. Okay, guys, just wanted to show you how good these work. See, so I broke it loose. It works no problem. So what I'm gonna do for you guys is in the description of this video, I will put a link to these guys. So you can purchase some through this channel, guys, if you want. Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, guys, and using that method, both of these came out no problem whatsoever. Got a pan here, of course. And the other one also came out no problems whatsoever. Very good access, guys, see? Okay, so now we can get rid of these lines. We can slide them out of here. you know, in our case, we can cut them, bend them, whatever. Okay, we're gonna get these out, guys. And once we have those out, what we're gonna do next, guys, is we're gonna go in the back of the transmission right here, guys. And this stuff is so annoying, like I said. See, it's all bent, it's hitting up against this. I'm gonna remove all this best I can. So there is like these things you turn off, right, to get it off. So I'm gonna remove as many as I can. I might have to get a utility knife and cut it. It does make a huge mess, guys. So put on a respirator, some safety goggles. I'm gonna get this out. So I'll get back to you guys in a few minutes when this is all out of here. Okay, boys and girls, so it's been probably about a good solid 20 minutes of suffering with this foam stuff. I got it all off. I had to cut some of it away. What a mess it made. Wear a respirator. Okay, check it out, guys. Okay, so now with that stuff gone, see, we have super duper good access to all the bolts. So we have, see, those are the bolts you gotta take off. See, there's the two starter ones. I got an extension on one of them. There's one there, one there, you know, they kind of go around, right? There's some over here. So you gotta get those two. On the other side, you got same kind of thing, guys. See, you got one there, there's one there. You gotta get them with a super duper long set of extensions. Check it out. See, just like this. You got a whole whack of them. See, and then you get to the bolt. You throw a bar on this, and you start breaking these bolts. I already started loosening them. See, just like that. You can get them all out. Okay, and as far as sockets go, so you have to use these inverted torque spec sockets. They are pretty common. Most sets do have them, believe it or not. They're very common, inverted torque specs. So you're using three sizes. The two starter bolts are 12 millimeters, and then the rest of them are 14 millimeters, and there's a couple 10 millimeters. So you just need the three sizes. If you don't have those, in the description of this video, check it out. I'll have a link. You can buy some on Amazon or wherever. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna slowly start releasing all those bolts. But before you do that, I'm gonna go on top and show you something really important. Okay, so as you can see, we have this whole motor tilted like this, right? Everything is sitting on this jack, which is in the middle of the transmission. And we got the wheels pointing this way so we can back it out, right? See, but the problem is the second you disconnect that transmission from this motor is gonna pop up like this. It just does that when you pull the transmission up. The weight of the transmission is what's making it tilt like that. And the jack's holding it so it doesn't go too far, so it doesn't super rest on that firewall there, right? The second you disconnect the transmission, the motor's gonna go like this. So you got a few different options, right? There's a hook here. You can get an engine hoist, hook it up and hold it there to prevent it from doing that. In my case, all I did is, see, I went underneath here and see, I just put a jack in the front here, just like this. And see, I just put it right there and I just lifted it about an inch maybe. So now the front of the motor is supported, so it's not gonna tilt down the second the transmission goes off, guys. Okay, I'm gonna unbolt all those bolts. I'm gonna skip that part and I'll show you guys how one man can pull a transmission just using a floor jack. Okay, that honestly only took about 20 minutes. I got all the bolts out. See, I pulled the starter out. She's ready to come out. Let's go pull it out. Okay, so I could kind of tell something's holding it, right? So I'm looking in here and see this like shield in between. See, it's stuck on this pin here. Okay, guys, so just after looking at this again, this is actually a 10 millimeter bolt. So I'm gonna remove this 10 mil and that will keep this plate on this side of the flywheel. Okay, so we're gonna remove this and then we're back to pulling this tranny off. Okay, so I got that off, as you can see. So now what I did is I put a screwdriver in here and I just kind of pried this. I went in there and pried it. This is the torque converter. Just to disconnect the torque converter from the flywheel here, so it doesn't end up staying on the flywheel. So now it's coming off with the tranny. That's all. Try to do that. It will definitely prevent a big giant mess. Okay, I'm ready to pull this off. It might be a little bit front heavy. Like I'm almost thinking maybe if I had the jack here, but it's too late now. I'm just gonna try it. Seems to be balancing pretty good, guys. Oh yeah, it balances no problem. I think I can even lower it now. Let's try it. Yeah, I am holding some of the weight, but really honestly not much. And that's how you remove, what am I saying? That's how you remove a transmission, guys. Okay, let's slide it under here or out of here. Am I tired? Maybe I am. And she's out, guys. Okay, guys, so as you can see, that wasn't that bad pulling that out. All we got really left in this video now is to take this flywheel off. So you take one of your transmission bolts, you screw it in like this. You grab a flat bar, you put it in like so. Grab a 19 mil. Really nothing to it, guys. Okay, ready? And one by one, you get these off. So I'm gonna fast forward till I got them all off. Okay, a few small little things I want to show you before we wrap this video up. All right, so as you can see, we got it out. Wasn't that bad. I'll show you a few little differences in between some of the parts really quick if you're doing an automatic to manual swap. Okay, so this part here that goes in between the transmission and the motor. See, this is the automatic one. This is the manual one. So I believe you can use the automatic one. It's got just a couple extra holes, which shouldn't affect anything. You wouldn't be able to use the manual one on an automatic transmission, but you should be able to use an automatic one on a manual transmission. Also the flex disc here. So this thing on the back of the automatic transmission, see? This is a different size than the one on the manual transmission, guys. This one is bigger, so you would need a new one of these as well. The drive axles are different lengths. You've seen that in the video. So I am gonna have a video on exactly what you need for the shifter, so check it out. I'm not gonna take this apart in this video. It's not that complicated. You do have to take it off. There is like a cable, see, that goes all the way to your ignition. So what it does is, like, when you put it in drive, then you can't turn your key on, right? So you have to eliminate that cable. This all has to come out. I will cover all of that and more. Like, I'm talking everything I'm gonna cover. What wires you need to hook up where for the reverse lights. Everything in the automatic to manual swap video on this beautiful BMW 328i, guys. Thanks for watching Problem Solver Garage. Till next time, guys, throw me a subscription. I really need them. Nobody's really watching my BMW videos for some reason. Corvette videos doing great. So hopefully BMW videos pick up. Thanks, guys. Till next time.